Hey there. I made a short, quick video for everybody that's just recently started using Zoom and has been having issues with scheduling meetings, setting up rooms, or figuring out waiting rooms, how to let people in, how to not miss people, or other little features. So, to schedule a meeting or to change your settings, it's best to go on the actual Zoom website. You make sure you log in, and you can do these settings even for an unpaid account. The only difference is your Zoom rooms can run for a maximum of 40 minutes. For a paid version, you can go as long as you want. But both options should have the same features and settings. Just the timing limit is different in your rooms. So once you log in and you click on meetings, that's when you can set up your meetings, schedule them, or you can see the ones that are already scheduled and coming up, the meeting IDs, the times. So here right now I have a meeting set up that happens every week, every Sunday on the same day. So to schedule a meeting, you just click here, schedule it, if you want to set it up in advance. Then you can just name it whatever you want. Let's name it test meeting. You can give it a description if you want to. You set the time and date. Let's set it for February 1st. You want to set the time, you can set the duration. It doesn't really matter if you go a little over or shorter. It's just kind of like whatever you want to set it to. Let's do 2 hours. You can set your time zone. I'm in Eastern. You can set up if you want it to be a recurring meeting. You can check if you require registration. You can set if you want automatically generated meeting ID or you want to use your personal ID. Then you can click if you want to require a passcode for people to join. So it gives you a little bit of extra security. You can create your own passcode, make it whatever you want to share with your users. Then here you can select if you want to use a waiting room. So I usually use waiting rooms and then just let people in as they come. But it's up to you. If you don't want waiting rooms, if you feel like you might miss people from joining and they get stuck in a waiting room and miss the meeting, you can just uncheck it. And as long as people have the link, they will automatically be added to the Zoom room. Then, if you want to do a video, you can check mark if you want the host to join with the video on off, if you want your participants to join with the video on or off. They can then later on in the meeting still turn the camera on or off. The other meeting options is, do you want to allow participants to join anytime? So if you trust your participants to not do anything crazy in the room, if you're not there yet, you can just check it, and as long as they have the link, they can join the meeting even if you're not there yet. You can save it, and then it will automatically show up in your setup meetings tomorrow, February 1st, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It will show the meeting ID, your passcode, and then the link that you can share with your participants, or you can just give them the meeting ID and passcode, and they can join too. And it gives you all meeting information, settings that you have set. And if you go on edit, you can edit those anytime before the meeting. You can start the meeting now if you wanted to. It doesn't have to be tomorrow at 6. For general settings in Zoom, you would go to settings, and over here you can also turn on a waiting room in general, but you can also turn it on off at your actual scheduled meeting. You can select if you want to require a passcode and all kinds of little features that I don't really use. Down here, let's see. Most of the stuff I don't really mess with. It's not really needed for my meetings. Down here, you can allow a chat in the Zoom room. You can turn it off if a chat is not needed for your room or you don't want people to chat. Then if you do turn a chat on, you can also select if you allow private chat among the participants. If you turn it off, they will only be able to talk to the host or co-host. Down here, sound notifications when someone joins or leaves. You can turn that on. If you have a waiting room set up, I would recommend turning on the sound. So just in case people are stuck in the waiting room and you don't know, it will make like a little doorbell sound if somebody's in the waiting room and you know there's somebody you need to let in. You can select if you want the sound played for host, co-host only, or if you want the sound to be heard by everyone. I don't think everybody needs to hear the sound, so as long as the host and co-host hears it, they know to let somebody in. You can also do polls inside your Zoom room. So you can select that, and then if there's like webinars or other workshops and you want to ask participants questions, you can use that option inside the Zoom room. Then down here, you can make all your screen sharing settings. Who do you allow to share the screen? Host only. If you're in a Zoom room and want a participant to share the screen, you can later on in the actual Zoom room give somebody the right to share the screen, even if you haven't selected it here. Down here is another whiteboard option. And let's see, down here. If you want to do breakout rooms, you would come down here and turn them on. And breakout rooms is pretty good for bigger groups if you want to split them up in smaller groups, but don't want to do separate Zoom meetings. So you would use breakout rooms and then either automatically have Zoom assign people, or you manually assign the people that go within a separate room. Then down here you can allow for people to use virtual backgrounds. If for whatever reason you don't want people to use them, you can come and uncheck it here. Down here, do you allow people to use video filters? You can either turn it on or off here. And then the only thing down here that might be important for you is, do you allow live streaming of the meeting? And then you can turn it on and check to which platform you want it to be live streamed. If you don't want to allow live streaming, you would come and just turn it off. And down here, if you set up a meeting and want to send out notifications, or when your meeting is canceled, let participants know, you would come down here and turn on email notifications. So people would get an email letting them know the meeting has been canceled or some other changes have happened to the meeting. And that's pretty much all I use here in the settings. Just make sure whatever you change in the settings has to be changed before you open the actual meeting, or it won't be updated in your Zoom. So if you're already in the meeting and come here, the changes won't take effect. You would have to leave the meeting and join a new meeting for all these settings to be updated. So let's go to the Zoom room and see what it actually looks like. This is how it would usually look like. And if you're the host, and if you're afraid somebody's stuck in a meeting in the waiting room, you don't really see it here. But if you come down here, I would recommend having the participant tab open, and it will show you who's currently in the room. And if somebody was in the waiting room, it would have a little tab up here. It says waiting room and who's in it. And then it has a little blue box next to it that says admit, and the person will automatically be added. And if you have the doorbell sound on, it's even better, then it will let you know by sound somebody's waiting if you don't have the tab open. But I recommend having this tab open so you always see if somebody's waiting. If you're in the chat, if you're in the Zoom and you want to invite somebody else, you have the options down here, invite, or if there's a loud noise happening and you don't know where it's coming from, you can mute all at once and then just unmute one by one to see who has the background noise going on. If you click on more, there's other options. Ask people to unmute. If you have a meeting, let's say you have an open mic and everybody's on mute, but you want to hear people laugh, you can click on here, and then a little window will pop up on everybody's screen asking them to unmute. So it's up to them to unmute themselves. If the meeting is going and you don't want new people to join, or if you're afraid somebody else might join and start doing some crazy things, you can go ahead and lock the meeting. If you click on here, it means the meeting is locked and no one else can join anymore. If you want to unlock it, you just come here and unlock it. Also here, you have the waiting room option. You can disable the waiting room so people are automatically added to the room, or if you want to have the extra security, you can enable the waiting room where people are waiting for you, the host, the co-host, to let them in. Down here, you can allow participants to unmute themselves, rename, start the video. If you don't want people to use video, you can turn it off, and then participants won't be able to turn on the video. So you have a little control over it. So if you know a specific person has a little background noise, you can go on the specific name, the more, and you have all these options. You can put them back in the waiting room, remove them, rename them. You can make them co-host, host, and you can have like the option of muting a specific person, turn on the video, turn it off, or block them from turning on the sound if they don't know they're actually making the background sound. So, and then down here you have all these host features. Like under security, you have the same option as it had over here. You can lock the meeting, enable, disable the waiting room, and over here you can allow your participants to share the screen. You can turn on, turn off the chat, and if you want people to be able to rename themselves, unmute themselves, start the video, you have control about all that over here. And yeah, here's your chat box. Turn it on, turn it off. If you want to share your screen, you have the option here. One participant at a time, or if you want multiple people at the same time, you can do that here. If you want to record the meeting, it's right here. If you want to use reactions, you can use those here. A little clap, thumbs up, heart, what you want. Or for participants that have questions, they can raise their hand and a little symbol will show up. So you know as a host, this person has a question. If you go under more, you'll find your live streaming and breakout room options. So if you want to live stream, you would just pick whichever platform, click on a specific platform, and then a little window will open asking you to log into that specific platform, and then you'll be able to live stream onto that. For breakout rooms, if you click on it, you can, I already had a room before, so it's showing the room here. Let me delete that. So, you can add a room. You can, it shows room 2 right now. You can rename it. Let's name it test. And you can assign people. Right now there's only iPhone available, so you can assign iPhone to that room. Then you can open the room, and then the person that's on the iPhone will have a little box asking them to join the room. And then if there's several people, right now only the iPhone is in the test room. If you had more than one person or more than one room, you would set up different rooms and then just select who goes in which room. So if you have a big group, but you have like little exercises, workshops, whatever, and give people little exercises to work on in smaller groups, you would break them up here. And then let's say there's only a certain amount of time left, or you want to send a message to all people at the same time, you can broadcast a message to all down here. You just click on it, tell them maybe like 1 minute left. And then everybody in every room will get a little message pop up where it says 1 minute left. If you want to close all rooms, want everybody to come back to the main room, you will just click on close all rooms. And then people have a little window pop up where it says leave now. Or otherwise, if they don't leave now, it will automatically end whenever the timer is up. So in this case, I clicked leave on the phone, and you can see the phone is automatically bumped back into the main room. So everybody's back in the normal room. And up here, you can change your views. So you can do gallery view, speaker view, and down here you have a little window. You can like rename people, rename myself, add profile picture. If you have a big group and lots of people have their video turned off, but you want to show the gallery view, you can also hide non-video participants. So it will hide all the people that don't have their video on. So it might look a little nicer than just gray screens everywhere. And yeah, you can, if there's several people, you can go, every person has these little 3 dots, and you can just click on them, ask them to start their video. If they have it turned off, you can chat to them personally. You can pin them. If you have a show going and this person is speaking right now, you can pin them so everybody can see just that person. Just make sure if you have a show going and you pin one person, if you're recording or live streaming, if you go back to gallery view, that's also what everybody else is seeing on the live stream. So even though you pinned the person, and you as the host who's streaming goes to gallery view, your streaming platform will also see the gallery view. So if you want only the one person that's speaking to show, make sure you stay in speaker view so just that person is shown. But that's pretty much all the main basic features to use to end the meeting. Just easy, just click here and end meeting for all. And that's pretty much all the basic settings to set up your room, set up breakout rooms, have people join, turn on, turn off waiting rooms, all the little basics. And I hope that answered a few questions people had.